Hey guys, it's Will here, and I'm joined tonight by Rob. This is going to be part 4 of the Tale of Four Gamers. You may have noticed Sam and Mike are missing. A couple of reasons for this. Firstly, we're down to one-on-one games now, so this first game is going to be me and Rob. But also, Mike couldn't make it tonight. We were originally planning to shoot both battles in the same night, but what happened to Mike again?
I think he was too busy with work this week, so he's in the middle of buying a house, so he's just full on shattered.
Yeah,
so
no worries. So
make it
Sam will be shooting that bat rep for me, because Sam's done a few bat reps in the past, so he knows what he's doing there. So he'll be shooting his game with Mike probably tomorrow. I'll try and upload them nice and close together, and me and Rob will be playing tonight. As the armies are a bit bigger now, we're playing sort of full-size missions, as it were. So there's going to be Maelstrom of War, 1250 points aside, rolling 4 missions randomly. So let's take a look at what we've added this month. So here's Rob's newly expanded Tau army. So this is up to 1250 points. 3 new additions this month. It's got this commander, that's your standard buffmander loadout, so light on weapons, very high on buffs and special abilities. He's also added in a unit of 5 marker drones and a unit of 5 standard fire warriors with the pulse rifles. So yeah, not a bad little army. He's got the 2 Pathfinder units. He's got the breaches in the Devilfish, big unit of fire warriors with the Fireblade, small unit of fire warriors, and the Storm Surge, which had a pretty decent, it's certainly a pretty decent threat, although didn't do too great in the last game, but hopefully today it will be doing better. And he's got his deep striking crisis suits as well. So that is 1250 points of Rob's newly expanded Tau. And here's my latest expansion of my Dark Eldar. So this month I've added in another Venom to transport a unit of Cabalites that sat out last month. So that gives me 3 units of 5 Cabalites with Shredders, all in Venoms with Splinter Cannons. And my other big addition this month is this unit of Scourges, and they've got 4 Heat Lances in there. So that should give me some nice anti-tank punch, which would be great if my opponent had actually brought more than 1 tank. Other than that, coming in from last month, we still have my Archon, and she's still standard loadout, Shadow Field and the Agonizer. Unit of 8 Incubi in a Raider. Then I've got a Ravager with 3 Bright Lances, my Talos Pain Engine, and my Razor Wing Jet Fighter. So that is 1250 points of Dark Eldar. The mission we rolled up tonight is Cloak and Shadow, so it's long table edges deployment, short table edges deployment, giving quite a long board, with 3 objective cards per turn that are played hidden, so your opponent can't see what your objectives are. Rob won the roll-off to go first and is deployed down here. Storm Surge is very aggressively forward, with the Pathfinders lurking behind him. Another Pathfinder, no, this is the big Fire Warrior team in there. Smaller Pathfinder team and Fire Warrior team over there. And Breaches in the Devilfish with his commander and battle suits in reserves, and the drones hiding in these woods. I've tried to use cover and long range to give me some protection from being alpha strike by the Tau's ranged firepower. So my Talos is there, hiding behind that rock spire, and most of the vehicles are trying to use cover as best as possible. I've got my Ravager over there, and my Raider with my Incubi and Archon in there. In reserves, I've got my Scourges and my Razor Wing. So all that's left to do now is roll to seize the initiative. That's not actually a 6, because that's an old fantasy artillery dice. Hey, but that is a 6. Nice! Dark Eldar steal the initiative, and here we go with turn 1. So in a way, seizing the initiative kind of made things tricky, because I'd kind of deployed very far back, expecting the Tau to come out of cover before I shot them. But I was still able to use it to my advantage. Essentially the whole army moved up, looking to grab the objective that I'd drawn and get into position. So these guys moved up, still making the most of the cover of the trees. This Venom fired and only killed one of these guys thanks to some poor wound rolls and their cover save. Talos did a little bit better, shot its twin-link splinter cannon through the legs of the Storm Surge and killed 3 of the Pathfinders. And on this flank, this Venom killed 2 Fire Warriors from the team that had deployed in front of the Pathfinders, causing them to flee. But only 3 inches, so they'll probably rally and do something next turn. Other than that, my Ravager moved up 12 and took a hull point off the Venom and stopped it. The Devilfish, and stopped it moving next turn. And this Venom went flat out to grab objective 6, which was one of my objectives for this turn. So that gives me a point. Also holding on to Kingslayer, which will come in handy later. His Warlord is the Fireblade. And I discarded secure objective 3 because I honestly don't think I'm going to be able to score that, because that's deep in the Tau deployment zone for now. So, didn't score first blood unfortunately, but I did score the first points on the board, and we now move in to Tau turn 1. So much as expected, the Tau first turn was a turn of very limited mobility. I think the only movement was to rally the 1 unit, oh no, it was even to fail to rally the 1 unit of Fire Warriors that were fleeing, and they fled almost off the board, but not quite. But it was all about the shooting. So over here, the Devilfish teamed up with the fleeing squad and the Pathfinders to shoot the Venom. Managed to get a decent number of hits, but didn't do any damage to it. Not the Venom, sorry, the Ravager. Over here, these guys dropped down their missile turret and opened up on the Venom, causing it to explode, giving him first blood. Also killed 3 of the guys from there, but they did pass their pinning check. The Pathfinders in here marked up that lead Venom, and then it was all about the Storm Surge. He opened up on just about everything with everything. So burst cannons and cluster rockets went for this Venom. He used the 2 marker lights to ignore my what would have been a 3+ cover save for jinking and night fight, which I've been very fortunate to roll. That, unfortunately for him, didn't do too much. The Venom's innate armour save, invuln save, saved it there. He fired the Pulse Blast Cannon and 2 D missiles at the Talos, but the 2 Pulse Blast missiles scattered, 2 Pulse Blast shots scattered, and the D missiles failed to hit. Then the, what they call missile pods, smart missile systems, fired at the rear Venom, wrecked it and caused the squad to disembark in front, where they were hit by the scattered shots from the Pulse Blast Cannon, killing 3 of them and causing the other 2 to run away. So pretty nasty turn there. I've lost 2 Venoms and the other one's jinking, and I've lost about half my infantry already. However, some of my key units are still alive, and I've still got my reserves to come on. Points wise, he scored 1 point for First Blood, and another point for Patient Hunter, which is Patient Hunter is basically kill a unit with the units in your deployment zone, which he did because all his units are in my deployment zone. So after the first turn, Tau take a 2-1 lead. Now, time for my reserves. Does the Razorwing Jet Fighter turn up? No, it doesn't. And do the Scourges turn up? Yes, they do. So 1 unit on from reserves, and we head into Dark Eldar, turn 2. Turn 2, and time to get some points on the board. So I tried to deep strike my Scourges behind here to take out his 1 vehicle with their heat lances, but they scattered into the drones, rolled a 2, which meant they got deployed down here instead. So they got a long way to go to influence this game. The rest of my army didn't fare too much better. The Ravager shot down the flank, trying to threaten these guys next turn, turbo boosted to get that far up. Ravager scooted back onto the hill to score objective 1 and opened up on the Storm Surge, did a wound, but it was saved by his invuln. The Venom and the squad in here failed to do any meaningful damage, mainly because that Venom had jinked. These guys hugged that objective for good reason, and the Talos was the 1 unit to actually achieve something, shooting off the 2 Pathfinders behind the Storm Surge. So not a great turn in terms of damage, but I did score Ascendancy for 2 points and Secure Objective 2 for 1 point. So it does give me 3 points this turn, 4 in total, but I'm now going to have to face the Wrath of the Storm Surge firing twice because he dropped his anchors down, and Rob needs to roll for his reserves over there, the the commander and his battlesuit squad. So, Rob, would you like to do the honours? It's a 2. Reserves don't come on. That's a temporary reprieve for me. Here we go with Tau turn 2. Tau turn 2 was suitably devastating. This Devilfish surged forward and the breachers got out, and with the help of the Pathfinders over there, wiped out the Cabalites that were holding that objective. 2 Fire Warriors over there did flee off the table, so that's them out of the way at least. The Devilfish tried to wreck that Venom but didn't succeed, and the marker drones failed to hit anything. But that Storm Surge, man, that Storm Surge wrecked the Venom easily, and then tried to kill the Talos. Oh, sorry, not Venom, Raider. I'm still learning this army. And tried to kill the Talos with its pulse cannon, but failed to wound that. But scattered shots did wipe out that Venom. So that's all my transports gone now. And then the Cabalites here, with the help of the Fireblade, were able to wipe out the not wipe out, do a significant damage to this squad. The Archon's taken 2 wounds and her Shadowfield's gone, and there's only 4 Incubi left. But we did pass the leadership, and that should still be enough to do some damage there. So, I have already rolled off camera for my reserves, and my Razorwing is coming in. So here we go with Dark Eldar, turn 3. So, the Razorwing was going to be one of the key moves of this turn. Came on here and lit up the breaches with all its missiles, but somehow 2 managed to survive despite the Talos giving supporting fire as well. The Ravager stayed in place and shot for the Storm Surge, did 2 wounds, but he passed his 4-up invuln again, and the Scourges started the long walk back into the game to do something. The Talos then attempted to charge the breaches, but failed to reach it. 11-inch was, yeah, a long bomb. And then, the funniest move of the turn, the Incubi charged the Fire Warriors, lost 1 on their way in, and then the Archon, because I had Hungry for Glory, challenged the Fireblade. Thought, she's an Archon, here's a Fireblade, should be an easy win. I did 2 wounds, thought, oh, that'll be enough to kill him. Nope, turns out Fireblades have 3 wounds, who knew? He then did the 1 wound left to my Archon, killing her. The Incubi then got revenge, cut down 7 of the Fire Warriors, and they subsequently fled, and the rest were cut down as they tried to flee. So, yes, I won the combat, but I lost my Archon in the process. Thankfully, it was probably worth it, because that Fireblade was his Warlord, and I had Kingslayer, so I got 3 points for that, plus the point for Slay the Warlord, plus the point for Hungry for Glory. So a very successful turn in terms of points, but I've lost my Archon, and that gives him Slay the Warlord. Rob's not had the greatest cards, to be fair, so far, so I think that the only way he's really going to beat me now is if he wipes me out, but he's Tau, and I think he could do that. But here we go with Tau turn 3. Start the Tau 3rd turn, and the Buffmander and his battlesuits finally turned up, landed in difficult terrain, but they survived that, and they proceeded to very swiftly blow up the Ravager, and thanks to having target locks, were also able to kill one of the Scourges. Over here, the Pathfinders marked up the Talos, and the Breachers and Devilfish tried to kill off this Cabalite squad, but 1 was left alive. Then it was all about the Storm Surge, with the marker drones still failing to hit anything. He managed to kill 2 more of the Incubi, thanks to some really good armor saves there. I should have been dead, and put a D-missile on the Talos, which did 2 more wounds to it. He also did 2 hull points to the Razorwing, but thanks to jinking and night shields, I was fine. So he is still fine, but he's jinking. So points wise, did you score anything this turn, Rob? Did you score anything? So he scored recon for grabbing all the objectives. Yeah. He got the multiple distractions one, yep. And he scored behind enemy lines for them. So pretty good turn of points. I'm still out in front on points, but things are going to get very difficult now because I have so little left on the board. Here we go with Dark Eldar, turn 4. So with so little left on the table, it was alas a very ineffective 4th turn for the Dark Eldar. The Scourges came over here. I was umming and ahhing about assaulting, but decided not to in the end. And thanks to some pretty poor to hit rolls, only managed to do a single wound. Because the Razor Wing was snap firing, failed to do any damage to the Storm Surge. The one success story of the turn was the Talos, who managed to put a hull point on the Devilfish and immobilise it in combat. But objectives wise, I had Domination, which I've discarded, plus Psych Warfare and Secure Objective 4, which is over here. So alas, a short and very ineffective 4th turn, because I am on the brink of getting tabled. 4th tail turn, and it was really mopping up time. So the commander in his battle suits killed 3 of the Scourges with shooting, and then assaulted the last one, wiped him out. And then it was all about the Storm Surge, split its fire up and basically wiped out everything else that was on the board, except from 2 dudes hiding down here. We were considering playing on, but Rob has more points than me now. He's got 11 points to my 9, and is about to get a massacre if we play another turn. Incidentally, to take down the flyer, what he did was fired all his marker lights at it, and then that buffed the short range high firepower shooting of the Storm Surge. It did 2 strength D hits with its cannon, so that was the Razor Wing gone. So yeah, there we have it, a solid Tau victory. Dark Eldar essentially massacred apart from 2 guys, and he was up on points by the end. So good game, mate, thank you. I'll catch you guys in a second for the post game. And there we go, a solid victory for the Tau. Nice one, Rob, you beat me good there. Yeah, not a bad game either. It was quite fun to play, see if the Dark Eldar could do something. The Archon tried some heroics and got shamefully killed in combat by a Fireblade. But in the end it was all about that Storm Surge. Just ouch, that Storm Surge is nasty. Pretty much single-handedly took half my army on, and yeah, killed them all for virtually no damage. I just couldn't seem to leave a scratch on it. Thought that maybe the Ravager and the Scourges might do something, but it just kept saving on its armour from its invuln save from the Ravager, and the Scourges just awful luck there. Terrible deep strike mishap right on the other side of the battlefield. There was no coming back for them from there, and then it was just up to the remaining Tau units to mop me up. So yeah, and that's game. Good fun game to play, even if it was a bit one-sided, but it showed me a few strengths and weaknesses in the Dark Eldar, things I might need to address before the next game. Definitely need another Venom. Those things are good, but you need a lot of them because they die so easily. The Flyer, it's a little underwhelming, but maybe it was just bad luck. I've actually got another one of those to paint for the, next month, so maybe 2, maybe a pair of Razor Wings will do the job nicely. We shall have to wait and see. But yeah, that is the first game of month 1. No, first game of month 4. Not the first game of month 1, what am I talking about? Yeah, first game of month 4. For the second game, you're going to have to wait a couple of days. We actually had to wait 3 weeks between the first game being played and the second because of yeah, a few technical hitches, but it is now all shot and ready to go. Just need to finish editing it. So this video obviously going up today, the next one probably a couple of days, so look out for that very soon. As soon as it goes up, I will pop a link in the description of this video, so if you're watching this a little bit after it goes out, then check the link in the description and you'll hopefully find the second game. That's obviously going to be Mike and Sam, so we're looking at Tyranids versus Iron Warriors, so it should make for an interesting matchup. And yeah, stay tuned for more. I've had a couple of questions about, are we still going to carry on the Tale of Four Gamers into the next edition, or what's happening? Basically, we're looking to crank up the pace a little bit, so we'll be getting month 5 out probably only a week after month 4 comes out, because I mean month 4's taken best part of a month to upload anyway, so we're practically in month 5. And yeah, we're hoping to squeeze the 6th and final month in before the new edition drops, so it will all be played in 7th edition. The changes to 8th won't affect Tale of Four Gamers. But then once 8th edition comes out, we've got all sorts of things we can do there as well. Loads of new battles to play, new rules to try out. Should be really good fun. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye!